What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Lindsay coming at you live from my car. I'm actually right outside of Premier Gymnastics. Jordyn is inside working her little booty off. She does gymnastics 5 hours a week. As you guys are hopping on, tell me where you're tuning in from. And if you have kids, put yes in the comments. I've got a great story about my daughter and a question she asked me on the way here. My kids ask me questions all the time, more and more as of late. They love to learn a little bit about me. They love to ask about what I was like as a kid. They love to hear stories from my childhood, and I love sharing them because I really had a great childhood. I had a great life. Yes, I overcame lots of obstacles as I started getting older, but wow, this one got me. This one got me. Has anyone ever had their kid ask them a question and they were like, what? Like, where did you think of that at? And before I tell you what that question was, I'm raising two very different kids. So my son Landon is 9, and my daughter Jordyn is 5. And I really started noticing over the last couple of years, I would say, how much both of my kids are really like me, in their own kind of quirky, weird ways. You all know if you've seen them on my stories, if you've seen my kids on my photos and the things I share. It's one of the things that I share the most all over Instagram, and they're even in TikToks with my husband and whatnot. But I really started noticing my 9-year-old Landon. If you know Landon, put I know him in the comments. He's the best. And growing up, you guys won't believe this, but I was very OCD. I was very kind of making sure that I was following the rules all the time. I always wanted things right set up in my room. I didn't like being thrown off schedule. I was a planner. I didn't like being late to things. It gave me kind of high anxiety to be in social situations where I knew I may have had to raise my hand and speak. I got nervous a lot. I wasn't the loud, outspoken kid. I was actually very introverted and very shy. Would you believe that about me? I don't think some of you will. And I started noticing a lot of that with him. And he's a first child. I'm a first child. My brother is a couple years younger, and Jordyn is 4 years younger than Landon. So he has a different dynamic with the relationship, but he does have a sister, just like I have a brother. We relate very well together. And then there's Jordyn, and then there's Jordyn, my free spirit, my kid that loves herself, walks into a room and says, "Look at me, I'm the best." She's always spreading her joy and sunshine, and two of her teachers actually reached out to me this week, a guidance counselor and her teacher, and said a story about her just going out of her way and making their day and making them smile. And that part of me today sits with her at like age 5. Like she's like an old soul. And it's so great to watch her. It's so great to watch her. And part of me is just like, God, if I only had that confidence at age 5, like what could I have done in the world, right? Totally different. But there is a side of sis, and I'll get to what she asked me today. She's a perfectionist. It's a side that I never really started noticing until she took up gymnastics. She loves being the best, and we know that she loves herself. So testing her in a sport that challenges her flexibility, it challenges her strength, it challenges her determination, her confidence, it challenges her self-esteem a little bit. It's a difficult thing to watch sometimes because she gets so hard on herself. There was actually an instance a couple weeks ago, it was a couple months ago, and she was down in the basement, and I'm like, honey, I'll help you. Like, I can assist your feet. She was doing one of these moves on the bars. She goes, no, I'm doing it myself, mommy. And she was down there for another hour by herself perfecting it. And I talk about this word perfectionism because I learned a little bit about it a couple weekends ago at our event. Jordyn is a perfectionist. She's a perfectionist. And at age 5, having a daughter who wants to be perfect at everything and holds herself to such a high standard is something as a parent, I think some of us kind of gulp and we're like, oh, geez, this can either go really well and she'll excel at everything, or this can go very bad. So we had a conversation about being perfect on the way here because she was terrified to get on the bar tonight. Not the bar, the beam. Terrified. Mommy, I can't do what the other girls do. The other day she said she wasn't as flexible as everybody else, but her coach reminded her that she's stronger than everybody else. And she has strengths that lie, in different areas compared to some of the other girls. And she'll work on her flexibility. She'll become better. So I reassure her that. As a parent, I always pump my kids. I always do affirmations. We do all those things. But this perfectionist thing came up in the question on the way here. We started talking about it, and we're listening to her pump list. Yes, we have a pump list of songs that she listens to prime herself in the mindset for gymnastics. She does 5 hours a week. It's going to work. Hopefully you can hear me now. All of us are setting ourselves up for perfectionism in some way or another. We want to be perfect. We want to be the best. And when she said, Mommy, are you always perfect? I looked at her and I said, why do you think I'm perfect all the time? And she just looked at me and she said, because you do everything perfect. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I've watched your bar classes. You know everything perfect. Everybody does everything you tell them to do. You're so good at reading books. You know how to read so well. I see you dress up and you look perfect and you have muscles and you're perfect. And she said that to me. Sorry, Glow. I think it's shut off. And she asked me that. She goes, why are you so perfect? And then I dropped her off and I had to go pick something up out at a friend's house. And I'm like, God, I'm far from perfect. I'm so far from perfect. And maybe I should show my kids my imperfections a little bit more and show them a lot of my failures so that they know that it's okay to fail themselves, so that they know it's okay to have those moments where they're weak and they learn from their challenges and they grow with their challenges, just like she's growing on the balance beam. She's not going to be perfect on it, but she can work every day to be her best. And when I had that conversation with her and I told her back when I was a softball player in, elementary school, my parents brought me to this field and I did not want to play. And they threw me on the field and they said, you're going to figure out how to do it. And we believe that you can. But I wasn't very good at it, so I didn't want to do it. It scared the shit out of me because I wasn't the best. I was good at volleyball. Let me just stick with volleyball.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
My watch is going now. Anyways, hopefully some of this message got to you. But it's just a reminder that your kids look up to you and they want to see you win and they want to see your failures. And if you talk to them about being a real person and what it takes to persevere, I know that she's going to change a lot just as a person. She's going to change out of that perfectionist stage and she's just going to be a go-getter and she's going to do the things that scare the crap out of her some days. And then she's going to learn from those things and that's going to make her a better person. I remind Landon all the time with his OCD. I'm like, it's okay if we're a little late. It's okay if you break the rules sometimes and get in trouble. I just want the school to call me sometime and say, your son was misbehaving, because he's that perfect. He tries to be that perfect. I can't use that word. He tries to be the best about his behavior because he feels a little lost in lots of other areas. And that's a whole other story. But raising 2 kids is you think it's it's just so it's the biggest job I've ever had. It's the most important job I've ever had. And I just kind of got that parenting kind of love slap tonight when Jordyn asked me why I'm so perfect. I don't know. I don't talk about that stuff with her. So I'm excited to share more of those learning moments, those growth moments with her. And my kids know that you can never have a bad day, right? You either have a good day or you have a growth day. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And we just have to do better jobs at teaching our kids that. So that's it. Thanks, Chloe. I'm doing the best I can. It's just so crazy to me to think that I have two kids with completely different personalities, but somehow each of them has one little part of me that is like, oh my God, that is so my kid. Have you guys ever said that? You're like, they don't look like me, but oh boy. Oh boy. And then you have to argue with people that were just like you when you were young. It's like, I don't know. But I just want to share that with you. All right, I'm going to jump in there before she gets on the beam. I know it's one of the first things they do, and I'm going to give her a little confidence, a little praise. And when she gets in the car, I'm going to praise her. We're going to talk about some of the things she can work on, but man, praise your kids, love on your kids. You cannot pump them up enough. You cannot tell them how amazing they are enough. You can't. Our kids need that confidence. Our kids need to lead, and they need to lead that next generation into some awesome times. All right, that's it. Have a great day. Hit the share. You missed a minute. Sorry. I'll upload it to my YouTube too. Have a good day, guys. Appreciate you. Bye.